let's talk about this really quick. I just want to get everyone's state of mind on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being you're like just over it already, and 10 being you're the most optimistic ever about this team, or you're stoked about this team after the result, just the result this weekend. Let's not even consider the other two matches. Where are you? 0 or 1 to 10 or whatever we're going to say. Dylan, give us your number and your brief reasoning on it. And I don't know what's going on because I can't hear you, Dylan. So Dylan's muted for some reason. So I'm going to go to you, Larry. You give us the answer.
What was the question?
No one ever listens to me. I've learned that. No, the question was based off of the result this past weekend, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the greatest. How are you feeling after the results with Orange County?
I feel like I'm an 8. It was a bad night. That's it. It was a bad night. One thing I have learned recently in the last couple of years, when I'm out on the baseball field umpiring and pitcher throws a pitch and the coach maybe doesn't quite, or the batter maybe doesn't quite like whether, the strike call, and he kind of makes a face and the body language is bad. And the coach just looks at him and says, hey, so what? And right now, in regards to this particular game and this particular performance, I'm looking at it and I'm going, so what? It's the third game of the season. We got 31 more to play. I'm not even remotely concerned. Yes, walking out with my little post-game video, heading out to the parking lot. It was short. It was sweet. And for those of you who didn't see it on the Instagram feed, it was, well, that sucked. And honestly, it did. It sucked. It wasn't a fun night. It wasn't a good game. The players know it. We know it. They happen. They happen to every single team. So I'm not worried. I'm going to go a solid 8.
DK, let's be honest. Larry's being a very optimistic person there with an 8 rating. I mean, based on the way you sounded when we introduced you, maybe you're more on Larry's side with that. But where do you stand after that match?
Yeah, I mean, after that match, I would say a 7. I think there was a lot of good things that we had in the first half. The second half, obviously, we got scored on early, and then the red card, and then everything fell apart. Without that red card, I think we definitely could have come back into that match. Would we have won it? Not sure, but I definitely think we could have come back. The biggest issue, that we can really think about and why it's a 7 and not an 8 for me is that the defense needs some work. The defense is weak right now. I mean, out of the 3 games, we've been scored on, 7 times? And that's not okay. So that's something that we really need to look at. The midfield is, our strongest point, but at the same time, I would say that teams have realized that. And if they shut down Scott and Hagart, which is what Monterey did, then they stop a lot of our strengths as far as, switching the play as much as we were able to in the previous 2 games. So I'm not totally lost on the defense, but obviously there needs some work. And I'd say I'm a little bit high since a lot of that was negative. I'm a little bit high just because we have a bye week. And I think there's times to address those issues and to build that chemistry in the back and to strengthen that. So that's my hope, at least.
Dylan, where do you stand on all this? Larry and DK are pretty high on the team. And I'm just saying in reference to the match. I'm not saying in reference to what the future, what we think. I'm just saying based off of what we saw from the match, where are you rating it? Your emotions, your feeling, your mental state. Dylan, where are you?
Hopefully it's working, but I think I'm down at a... I'm not particularly happy with the result. I think it was poor, and I know a lot didn't go our way, but it didn't ever look like we were really up for it. And yeah, to echo what DK said, and which was the point I initially tried to make, we've conceded 7 matches in 3 goals. 7 goals in 3 matches. That's how this week is going for all of us, I think. And that's not what playoff teams do. So, yeah, I get we had a bunch of starters missing, but Part of being a professional, I think, is a next man up attitude. And, if you are playing in Kevin Partita's spot or, Cameron Dunbar's spot while the entire world drives past my window, you have to be ready for when you get your chance. And it didn't look like we were ready, and it didn't look like we had a plan B. And, wow, this is incredible. Maybe we could come up with a plan B. This is such a disaster of a show. It's a disaster of a week for Orange County. Let me be the first to say I just can't wait for another match.
Well, we didn't know Dylan was going to be posting up like at a speedway or something like that tonight. So Dylan, hopefully, we had the gentleman from Pittsburgh that was at like a midnight high school hockey match, and we heard the hockey pucks and the ice, skating going on, and now we're hearing the motor speedway from Dylan. And it was around the same time last year this happened, so maybe that's just it's just sort of the luck of it all.
I miss Cameron Millage a lot and his random noises and his toothbrush on the show. So here we are. But yeah, that was a bad result. It was a bad performance. So a deserved result, and pretty much everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Thankfully. Minus Ryan Dogman receiving a deserved red card, we seem to escape without any major missing pieces for next time.